Everyone, we are Group 7. Our topic is International Ethics. On your right you see Andy. He will guide you through this video. Our topic of the video is going to be Amazon wildfires of 2019. The agenda of the video is going to be first the concept of international ethics, second what is actually happening, then international actors connected, then we'll talk about sovereignty versus common good, and for the end the conclusions.
So before talking about Amazon forest, what's international ethic and what's ethics? Ethics are rules of conduct recognized by a particular class of human action or group. In comparison with moral, which is more about individuals' own principle regarding right and wrong. So we can define international ethics as the set of moral principles that are set at international level. But what about culture and tradition? In 1980, Hans Kuhn tried to define what international or global ethics means. After 9/11, UN also decided it was time to establish a global ethic between nations.
What is actually happening? Natural rainforest wildfires in the Amazon happen every year during the tropical dry season, which normally lasts from April until September in the southern hemisphere. In the Amazon, the dry season is felt the most during the months from July until October. The reason for these wildfires can be naturally occurring events, for example a lightning. Nevertheless, this year most of the fires were caused by loggers and farmers that burn down existing trees on a regular basis to create new land for new crops. The year 2019 showed a massive increase of the amount of the wildfires, which led to international concern about the forest. For Brazil's National Institute for Space Research, the increased rates in the current year were noticed for the first time. This news reached their monitoring systems in June 2019. When in August the same year the city of Sao Paulo in Brazil was covered in smoke, although being far away from the fires, the attention reached society and went global. This year's wildfires reached their peak in August, when there were 30,901 individual fires going on at the same time. The Amazon is of great importance for the world because it's the largest rainforest and gives vital carbons to the air that slows down the speed of the ongoing global warming. People around the world started to recognize this and reacted with protest in many cities.
Okay, let's get to the actors involved. First of all, we have Jair Bolsonaro, the Brazilian president, we have the local farmers, NGO, and the United Nations. The Brazilian president Bolsonaro faces criticism of his failure to protect the Amazon. Since Bolsonaro took power in Brazil, the government sympathy shifted from indigenous groups to the lodgers. Norway and Germany stopped their donations to Brazil's Amazon Fund, which is supporting both environmental NGOs and governmental agencies. Bolsonaro says that the fines were set by NGOs to embarrass his government because of the slashing of its NGO funding. He did not have evidence nor names of allegedly involved NGOs. That are the local farmers. They are assumed to deliberately or accidentally have set the fires to clear the land. Okay, we'll get back to that later. The NGOs replied that the claim is a smokescreen to hide the lack of protection of the world's largest tropical rainforest and said the farmers clearing land were the cause of a surge in forest fires. Greenpeace, Brazil's public policy coordinator, for example, stated that Bolsonaro's claims are a sick and painful statement. For example, fights the destruction of the Amazon, helps the indigenous inhabitants by supporting their rights, and they find climate justice solutions. Rainforest Trust has already saved more than 23 million acres of Amazon since 1988. This was achieved through the funding of projects which aims at the restoration and protection, serves forests and protects the climate. It also supports human rights by challenging corporate and systematic injustice through frontline partnerships and strategic campaigns. Amazon Conservation Association provides hundreds of conservation workers to support the restoration of the Amazon. The organization already has planted nearly 300,000 trees until today. The Amazon conservation teams work together with indigenous leaders to ensure the welfare of the Amazon, and Greenpeace has petitions to set Bolsonaro's government under pressure. And the Amazon were a top priority issue at the G7 summit in France this year. Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, led the summit discussions about the Amazon wildfires. He stated, "Our house is burning," literally. US President Donald Trump refused to discuss the issue without Brazil's presence. It was reported that there were sharp differences amongst the participants. Climate scientist Carlos Nobre supported the NGOs. By sharing their opinion, that the farmers are the source of the deforestation and the fires.
The case of the burning Amazonian forest highlights the problem of the notion of the global common and sovereignty. But first, let's clear the notion of sovereignty, which can be defined as the condition of the state having control and authority over its own territory. Then, concerning global common, this can be defined as the area and resources that do not fall under sovereignty. Antarctica is a perfect example of good commons, which is owned by anybody. But then, how can we define what's common good and what's not? And why a country should accept to abandon its sovereignty for common goods? UN claimed for direct action to stop the fire, but on the other hand, UN cannot override Brazilian sovereignty. As Bolsonaro claimed, they are even called into question that which we all as our more sacred value, our sovereignty. So, to override this problem, the Amazonian forest should be considered as common global, considering its huge biodiversity and the quantity of carbon dioxide absorbed by the forest. But then Bolsonaro is already claiming that this is a fake vision. This could be changed thanks to international trade or financial pressure. For example, Macron can be given credit for threatening to end trade with Brazil.
Why do we consider the Amazon forest crisis an international ethics case? The Amazon forest crisis can be considered an international ethics case because of the amount of actors involved and the risks that are at stake for the entire world, as the Amazon forest is considered to be the lungs of the earth. For the future, it is important to focus on the local farmers that set the fires every year. The only way to slow it down is by making the forest itself more valuable. The rainforest is rich with all kinds of products we use daily, like coffee and medication, that are barely being touched. Creating a market where the products can be efficiently sold would solve this problem. By accomplishing this, the locals might see that the forests that are burning every year can actually be a lot more valuable than they currently feel it is. This way the rainforest can be preserved and the local farmers will have a more durable way of living with the rainforest. Thank you for your attention.
Everyone, we are group